The German Shepherd's jaws
so
clamped
happy
down
to
on the
finally bring him
wheelchair.
home.
Everyone
Thank you
screamed.
both.
Sarah lunged forward, but she was too late.
But we know he's
The
in
massive
best
police
hands.
dog, the one that had attacked 3 handlers, the one they'd warned could never be trusted again, was dragging the paralyzed little girl straight toward him. The metal bars were all that separated them now. Then the growling stopped. What happened in the next 5 seconds would make headlines across America. But what nobody knew yet was that this wasn't just a rescue. It was a reckoning. Before we start, drop your city name in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. The scratching started at 2 a.m. Sarah Mitchell pressed her palm against the cold wall of the shelter office, feeling the vibrations through the concrete. Down the hall past the rows of kennels where 23 dogs slept, one animal refused to rest. "He's getting worse," her assistant Maria whispered, standing in the doorway with 2 cups of coffee. "That's the 3rd night this week." Sarah took the cup, her hands trembling slightly. 42 years old, 15 years running Haven's Hope Animal Shelter, and she'd never met a dog she couldn't read. Until Rex. "The Johnsons called again," Maria continued. "They want to know if we've made progress. They're threatening to contact the county if we can't." "I know what they're threatening." The scratching grew louder. Not frantic. Methodical. Like something trying to dig its way out of a grave. "Sarah, maybe it's time we consider—" "Don't say it. He's been here 4 months. Nobody can get near him. The vet won't even examine him anymore without sedation. We're spending money we don't have on a dog that might never—" I said don't. But Maria's eyes held the truth they both knew. Euthanasia wasn't cruelty when an animal was suffering, and Rex was suffering. Sarah walked down the corridor, her footsteps echoing off the cement floor. The other dogs stirred as she passed. Bella, the 3-legged beagle. Chance, the pit bull with the scarred face. Murphy, the golden retriever who'd been returned 4 times. All of them had found people who saw past their damage. All of them except the dog in kennel 24. She stopped in front of his cage. Rex sat in the corner, his massive frame, rigid eyes fixed on nothing. The identification tag on the bars read Rex, German Shepherd, age 6, police K9 retired. Caution aggressive. Do not approach without authorization. "Hey, soldier," Sarah said softly. His ear twitched. Nothing else moved. "I know you're in there somewhere. The dog who saved 12 people. The dog who found that missing boy in the ravine. The dog whose partner cried when he had to give you up." Rex's breathing changed just slightly. "Mark called yesterday, asked about you. Said he still sees you in his dreams." Now the dog's eyes shifted, meeting hers for half a heartbeat before looking away. "He said on your last mission you tried to save a little girl. Said you went into that warehouse even after you'd been shot. Said when they pulled you out you were still trying to crawl back in." Rex stood abruptly, turning his back to her. "Mark said her name was Isabel, 8 years old. Blonde hair, blue dress. He said you never forgave yourself for—" The growl that erupted from Rex's throat rattled the metal bars. "Okay," Sarah whispered, stepping back. "Okay, I'm sorry." She walked back to her office where Maria was reviewing adoption applications on the computer. "We have 3 appointments tomorrow," Maria said without looking up. "The Henderson family wants to meet Charlie. That college student wants to see Daisy, and then there's this one." She clicked the mouse, frowning. "A single mother. Daughters in a wheelchair. They specifically asked to visit even though we told them we don't recommend bringing children under 12. Why would they bring a child in a wheelchair here?" The mother said her daughter won't stop talking about dogs. Said she watches rescue videos for hours. Physical therapy isn't working, and the doctors think emotional therapy might help. Maria scrolled down. "The girl's name is Lily Parker. She's 7. Car accident 2 years ago, paralyzed from the waist down." Sarah felt something twist in her chest. 7 years old. Same age as— "I know." Sarah closed her eyes, seeing the old newspaper article she kept in her desk drawer. The one about Officer Mark Jensen and his K9 Rex heroes of the Riverside warehouse incident. The one that mentioned in the last paragraph that despite their valiant efforts, 8-year-old Isabel Martinez had not survived. "Should I call them back?" Maria asked gently. "Tell them tomorrow's not a good day." Sarah looked down the dark corridor toward Kennel 24. "No," she said finally. "Tell them to come." The Parker family arrived at exactly 10 a.m. Sarah watched through the office window as a silver Honda pulled into the gravel parking lot. A woman in her mid-30s stepped out. Emma Parker, according to the application. Tired eyes, the kind that came from months of hospital visits and insurance battles. She moved to the passenger side and opened the back door. The wheelchair came out first, unfolding with practiced efficiency. Then came the girl. Lily Parker had blonde hair pulled into a ponytail, bright blue eyes, and a smile that seemed too big for someone who'd spent 2 years unable to walk. She wore a pink sweatshirt with a cartoon dog on it and jeans with worn knees, worn not from playing. Sarah realized with a pang, but from the wheelchair's wheels catching the fabric. "Ready, sweetheart?" Emma asked, positioning the wheelchair. "I've been ready for 3 days, Mom." Lily's voice carried across the parking lot, high and excited. "Do you think they have big dogs?" "I like big dogs. They're like gentle giants, right? Like in that movie we watched." "Let's just see what they have." "Okay, remember what we talked about. We're only visiting today." I know. But Mom, what if I meet the dog? Like the one that's meant to be mine? Don't soulmates exist for dogs too?" Emma's expression softened as she wheeled her daughter toward the entrance. "I think soulmates exist for everything, baby, if we're lucky." Sarah met them at the door. "Mrs. Parker, I'm Sarah Mitchell, the director. Welcome to Haven's Hope. Please call me Emma, and this is Lily." The little girl looked up, her smile somehow growing even wider. "Hi. Is it true you have 20 dogs here? My mom said 20. I counted to 20 last night just to practice their names in case I meet them all." Sarah felt her heart crack just a little. "We have 23 actually." 23. Lily clutched her armrests. "Mom, did you hear that? 3 extra dogs. That's 3 extra chances for—" "Lily," Emma said softly, a warning and a plea all at once. I know. Just visiting." But her eyes sparkled with hope that no logic could dim. Sarah led them inside, and immediately the barking started. Lily's head swiveled in every direction, trying to see everything at once. "That's Bella," Sarah said, pointing to the beagle hopping on 3 legs. "She was hit by a car last year. Still thinks she can run faster than anyone." "She's beautiful," Lily whispered. "That's Chance. He was used in dogfighting before we rescued him. He has sad eyes." "He does, but he's getting happier. Last week he wagged his tail for the first time." They moved slowly down the corridor, Lily asking questions about every dog they passed. What did they like to eat? Did they have nightmares? Did they know people were trying to help them? Emma watched her daughter come alive in a way she hadn't seen since before the accident. Each bark made Lily laugh. Each wet nose against her fingers made her gasp with delight. "You're really good with them," Maria observed, walking alongside. "Most kids your age are scared of the bigger dogs." "Why would I be scared?" Lily asked, genuinely confused. "They're just lonely. Lonely isn't the same as mean." Sarah and Maria exchanged glances. They'd made it 3/4 of the way down the hall when the growling started. Lily's wheelchair stopped rolling. "What's that sound?" "That's—" Sarah hesitated. "That's Rex. He's in the last kennel. He's not really ready for visitors." But Lily was already moving her small hands, working the wheels with surprising strength. "Lily, wait." Emma reached for the chair. "It's okay, Mom. I just want to see." The growling grew deeper as they approached Kennel 24. Sarah moved ahead, positioning herself between the child and the cage. "Lily, Rex is different from our other dogs. He used to be a police dog, which means he's very well trained, but something happened that made him confused. He doesn't trust people anymore. We have to be very careful around him." "What happened to him?" "He couldn't save someone he loved. and now he thinks it's his fault. Lily was quiet for a moment, her blue eyes fixed on the darkness beyond the bars. Is that why he's angry? We think he's angry at himself. That's the saddest thing I ever heard. Rex emerged from the shadows and Emma gasped. He was enormous, 90 pounds of pure muscle, with a scar running across his muzzle and eyes that looked like storm clouds. His teeth were bared, his hackles raised every inch of him, screaming danger. Okay, that's close enough, Sarah said firmly, her hand hovering near Lily's wheelchair. We should go back now. But Lily wasn't looking at Sarah. She wasn't looking at her mother. She was looking straight at Rex, and her expression held no fear, only recognition. He looks like how I feel, she said quietly. Emma knelt beside her daughter's chair. What do you mean, baby? After the accident, when I woke up and couldn't move my legs, I felt angry like that. Not at anyone else. At me. Like it was my fault I couldn't walk anymore. Like I'd failed some test I didn't know I was taking. Tears welled in her eyes, but her gaze never left Rex. Everyone kept saying it wasn't my fault, but that didn't make the anger go away. It just made me better at hiding it. The shelter had gone completely silent. Even the other dogs seemed to be holding their breath. Lily wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I bet nobody told him it wasn't his fault either. I bet they just told him he was dangerous. Rex's growling had stopped. He stood perfectly still, his eyes locked on the small girl in the wheelchair. Lily, we really should, Emma started. Can I talk to him? Please. Just for a minute. Sarah's instincts screamed no. Every protocol she'd established, every safety measure, all of it said to move this child away immediately. But something in Lily's voice, something that sounded like understanding rather than innocence, made her pause. Just talk, Sarah said carefully. Don't put your hands near the cage. Don't make sudden movements. And if he starts barking, we back away immediately. Understood? Lily nodded solemnly. Emma looked like she might argue, but Sarah gave her a look that said, Trust me. I won't let anything happen. Lily wheeled closer, stopping about 3 feet from the bars. Rex tracked her movement, his body still tense, his ears flat against his skull. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. The broken girl and the broken dog. Then Lily spoke, her voice clear and steady. Hi, Rex. My name is Lily. I'm 7 years old and I can't walk anymore because of a car accident. The doctors say maybe I'll walk again someday, but probably not. They try to make it sound like it's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. It's the biggest deal in the whole world. Rex's ears twitched forward just slightly. Everyone wants me to be happy all the time. They say things like, at least you're alive, and you're so brave, and you inspire us. But I don't feel brave. I feel scared and angry and sad, and sometimes I think maybe I died in that accident too, just in a different way. Emma's hand covered her mouth, tears streaming down her face. This was the first time her daughter had said these words out loud. But you know what? Lily continued. Today, I woke up and I thought maybe there's a dog out there who feels the same way I do. Maybe there's a dog who's also pretending to be okay when he's really not. Maybe there's a dog who needs a friend who gets it. She inched her wheelchair closer. Sarah's hand shot out, but Maria caught her wrist, shaking her head slightly. The lady said you couldn't save someone you loved. And now you think you're bad. But Rex heroes don't become bad just because they can't save everyone. They're still heroes. They're just heroes who are sad. Rex's tail, which had been tucked tight against his body, lowered slightly. I know you don't trust people anymore. That's okay. I don't really trust people either. After the accident, everyone looked at me different. Like I was broken. Like I was something that needed to be fixed. Her voice dropped to a whisper. But maybe we don't need to be fixed. Maybe we just need someone who sees us and doesn't look away. The German Shepherd took one step forward, then another. Sarah's muscles tensed, ready to pull Lily back at the first sign of aggression. Rex moved until he was directly in front of the bars, less than 2 feet from where Lily sat. His eyes, those dark haunted eyes, searched her face, as if looking for something he'd lost a long time ago. "I'm not scared of you," Lily said softly. "I'm sad with you. There's a difference." And then something happened that made everyone in that shelter question whether they were witnessing reality or miracle. Rex sat down. His tail gave a single hesitant wag, and from his throat came not a growl, but a sound none of them had ever heard him make, a soft, questioning whine. Sarah felt tears running down her own cheeks. Maria grabbed her arm for support. Emma stood frozen, one hand still covering her mouth. Lily smiled, really smiled for the first time since they'd arrived. "Yeah," she whispered. "I'm sad too." Rex pressed his nose against the bars as close to Lily as the metal would allow. And the little girl, this child who'd been warned not to touch, slowly raised her hand and placed it flat against the cold steel, her palm separated from his nose by less than an inch. They stayed like that for 30 seconds that felt like 30 years. The rest of the world disappeared. There was only a girl who couldn't walk and a dog who couldn't forgive himself, finding each other in the wreckage of their separate pain. When Lily finally pulled her hand back, she looked up at Sarah with tears streaming down her face. "Can we come back tomorrow?" she asked. "Please." Sarah tried to speak, but no words came out. She nodded instead. "Thank you," Lily said. Then to Rex, "I'll see you tomorrow, okay? I promise. And I always keep my promises." As Emma wheeled her daughter back down the corridor, every dog they passed was silent. Even Bella, who barked at everything, simply watched them go. When they were gone, Sarah walked to Rex's kennel. The dog was still sitting in the same spot, staring at the empty space where Lily had been. "What just happened?" Maria whispered. Sarah shook her head slowly. "I think," she said carefully, "we just watched two souls recognize each other." Rex looked up at her, and for the first time in 4 months, his eyes held something other than rage or emptiness. They held hope. That night, the scratching didn't start at 2 a.m. Instead, from Kennel 24, there came a different sound, soft and low and almost forgotten. Rex was crying, but it wasn't the cry of an animal in pain. It was the cry of a heart beginning to remember how to feel. And somewhere across town, in a small bedroom with glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling, Lily Parker lay awake, her hand pressed against her chest, feeling her own heart beat a rhythm she'd almost forgotten. Tomorrow couldn't come fast enough for either of them. The morning sun hadn't fully risen when Emma's phone rang. "Mrs. Parker, this is Sarah from Haven's Hope. I know it's early, but I wanted to catch you before—" "We're already in the car," Emma interrupted, glancing at Lily in the rearview mirror. Her daughter had been dressed and waiting by the door since 6 a.m. Sarah's laugh sounded relieved. "He's been waiting too. Hasn't moved from the front of his kennel since the staff arrived. We've never seen him do that before." "We'll be there in 15 minutes. Mrs. Parker, wait. There's something you should know. What happened yesterday? I've worked with traumatized animals for 15 years, and I've never witnessed anything like that. But I need to be clear about expectations. Rex is still unpredictable. What we saw might have been a one-time response. We need to take this slowly." Emma looked at her daughter again. Lily was clutching that worn stuffed dog, her lips moving silently, practicing what she'd say to Rex. "Sarah, my daughter, hasn't stopped smiling since we left yesterday. She talked through dinner about him. She drew pictures of him before bed. This morning, she told me she dreamed they were running together in a field." Emma's voice cracked. "She hasn't dreamed about running in 2 years. So whatever happens today, however long this lasts, it's already worth it." The line went quiet for a moment. Then Sarah said softly, 15 minutes. We'll be ready." When they arrived, Maria was waiting outside, her face bright with something that looked like barely contained excitement. "You're not going to believe this," she said, walking quickly beside Lily's wheelchair as Emma pushed through the entrance. "He ate breakfast, full bowl, First time in weeks he's finished a meal without us having to coax him." "That's wonderful," Emma said. "That's not all. Dr. Chen came by this morning for his monthly checkup. Rex usually has to be sedated for examinations. This morning he let Dr. Chen look at his teeth, check his ears, everything. Didn't even growl once." They rounded the corner into the main corridor. Every dog in the shelter started barking their greetings, but from Kennel 24 came a different sound. A single sharp bark followed by intense whining. "He knows you're here," Maria breathed. Lily's hands worked the wheelchair wheels faster. "Rex, I'm coming." When they reached his kennel, Rex was pressed against the bars, his whole body vibrating with restrained energy. The moment he saw Lily, his tail began wagging so hard, his entire back end moved with it. "You remembered me," Lily whispered, her eyes filling with tears. "I wasn't sure if you'd remember." Rex barked again, softer this time, almost conversational. "I think he's trying to talk to you," Sarah said, moving to stand beside them. She was holding something behind her back. "What are you saying, boy?" Lily leaned forward in her chair as close as she dared. "Are you happy? Did you miss me? I missed you so much." Rex responded with a series of whines and soft barks, his eyes never leaving her face. Emma wiped her own tears. "It's like they're having a conversation." "They are," Sarah said. She brought her hand around, revealing a keyring. "Mrs. Parker, I need to ask you something, and I need you to think very carefully before answering. I'd like to try opening Rex's kennel. Not to let him out, we'll use the safety gate to keep him contained. But I want to see if he'll allow physical contact through the gate." "Absolutely not." Emma's response was immediate. "Sarah, I appreciate everything you're doing, but my daughter is in a wheelchair. If something goes wrong, she can't run. She can't defend herself." "Mom," Lily said quietly. "Lily, no. This is non-negotiable." "Mom, please. Look at him." Emma looked. Rex was sitting now perfectly still, except for that wagging tail, his eyes moving between Lily and the adults as if following their conversation and waiting patiently for them to reach the right conclusion. "He won't hurt me," Lily said. "I know he won't." "Baby, you can't know that. He's an animal. Animals are unpredictable." "So are people," Lily countered. "The person who hit our car was a person. People hurt me. Rex hasn't." The logic was so simple and so devastating that Emma had no response. Sarah knelt beside Lily's wheelchair. "I have a degree in animal behavior. I've handled aggressive dogs, abused dogs that every expert said were beyond help. My professional opinion is that Rex has formed what we call a recognition bond with your daughter. It's rare, but it happens sometimes between trauma survivors. They see their own pain reflected in each other." "And what happens when that bond breaks?" Emma asked. "What happens when he has a bad day, or gets startled, or remembers whatever made him this way in the first place? That's why we're taking it slow. We open the kennel, but he stays behind the safety gate. Lily stays in her wheelchair, which means she's mobile if needed. I'll have a brake stick ready. Maria will be positioned to pull Lily back. And if at any point Rex shows signs of aggression, we shut it down immediately." Emma looked at her daughter, really looked at her. The hope shining in those blue eyes was almost painful to witness. "What if this goes wrong?" Emma whispered. "What if I let you do this and you get hurt?" Lily reached up and took her mother's hand. "Mom, I've been hurt. I'm still hurt. Every single day I wake up and I can't walk. That's me being hurt. But yesterday, for the first time since the accident, I felt like maybe hurt doesn't have to mean broken. Maybe it just means you understand things other people don't." Emma closed her eyes. Every instinct screamed at her to say no, to take her daughter home, to keep her safe from any more pain. But keeping Lily safe had meant watching her grow smaller and quieter with each passing month. And yesterday, for just a little while, her daughter had been big again. "Okay," Emma said finally. "But the second anything feels wrong, we stop." "Agreed. Agreed," Sarah and Lily said in unison. Sarah moved to the kennel door, key in hand. Rex, I'm going to open your door now. I need you to stay calm. Can you do that for Lily? At the sound of Lily's name, Rex's ears perked forward. The key turned. The lock clicked. The door swung open with a metallic creak that seemed unnaturally loud in the sudden silence. Rex didn't move. Good boy, Sarah said, her voice steady despite the tension radiating through her body. Now I'm going to step back. You can come forward to the safety gate, but that's as far as you go. Understand? Rex looked at Sarah, then back at Lily. He stood slowly, deliberately, and walked forward until his nose touched the safety gate, a secondary barrier of chain link that kept him separated from the corridor by about 3 feet. Hi, Lily said, her voice shaking. You're even bigger when there's no bars between us. Rex sat again, his eyes fixed on her face with an intensity that made Emma's breath catch. Can I try something? Lily asked, looking up at Sarah. What do you want to try? Can I try to touch him through the gate? Maria moved closer to the wheelchair, her hands hovering near the handles. Sarah positioned herself at an angle where she could intervene if needed. Slowly, Sarah instructed. Let him see your hand coming. If he pulls away, you pull away. If he growls, you pull away. If he tells me no, I'll listen, Lily said. I promise. She raised her right hand, extending it slowly toward the chain link. Her fingers were trembling. Rex watched the hand approach. His nose twitched, taking in her scent. When her fingertips were an inch from the gate, he stood and pressed his nose forward until it touched the metal links directly across from her hand. Oh, Lily gasped. I can feel your breath. It's warm. She moved her hand slightly to the right. Rex moved his nose to follow it. She moved left. He followed again. You're playing with me, Lily said, wonder filling her voice. You're actually playing. Emma felt something crack open in her chest. This was her daughter. This was the little girl who used to chase butterflies in the backyard, who used to dance in the kitchen while Emma cooked dinner, who used to be so full of life that she seemed to carry her own light. And for just this moment, that light was back. Can I put my whole hand against the gate? Lily asked. Sarah hesitated, then nodded. Keep your fingers flat. Don't curl them through the links. Lily pressed her palm flat against the chain link. On the other side, Rex pushed his nose against it so firmly that the metal bowed slightly toward her. Your nose is wet. Lily giggled. And cold. Do all dogs have cold noses? Most of them. Maria said, her own voice thick with emotion. It's a sign they're healthy. You're healthy, Lily told Rex. That's good. I'm healthy too, mostly. My body just doesn't work exactly right anymore, but that's okay. Bodies are just the outside part. The inside part, the part that thinks and feels and loves, that part still works perfect. Rex made a sound low in his throat, not a growl, something softer. I think he's agreeing with you, Sarah said. For the next 20 minutes they stayed like that. Lily talking Rex, listening, occasionally responding with gentle sounds that seemed to carry meaning, even if no one could translate them exactly. She told him about her favorite cartoons, about the stars her mother had put on her bedroom ceiling, about the fish tank at her doctor's office, where one fish was bigger than all the others, and always stole the food. That fish reminds me of my cousin Danny, Lily said. He's not mean, just really hungry all the time. Mom says he's a growing boy. I said he's a growing boy in every direction. She giggled at her own joke, and Rex's tail thumped against the floor. Emma pulled Sarah aside. I've never seen her like this open, this free. Trauma recognizes trauma, Sarah said. But so does healing. They're healing each other. What happens next? I mean, we can't come here every day forever. Sarah was quiet for a moment, watching the girl and the dog. What would you say if I told you I think Rex is ready for a foster placement? Emma's heart jumped. Are you serious? I've never been more serious about anything. Look at him. He's not the same dog that arrived here 4 months ago. And in all my years doing this, I've learned that sometimes healing doesn't happen in the shelter. Sometimes it happens in a home. Sarah, I don't know. The responsibility, the liability, what if something goes wrong? What if something goes right? Before Emma could respond, Lily called out, "Mom, Rex wants to show me something." They turned. The dog had backed away from the safety gate and was doing something Emma had never seen an animal do. He was bowing. His front legs stretched forward, his back end in the air, his tail wagging in that universal gesture that meant one thing. "He wants to play," Maria whispered. "He's asking her to play." Lily's face lit up with pure joy. "I don't have a toy. Do you have a toy we can use?" Sarah quickly grabbed a rope from the supply closet and handed it to Maria, who opened a small access door in the safety gate designed for passing food through and tossed the rope to Rex. The dog caught it mid-air and immediately brought it back to the gate, dropping it as close to Lily as possible. "You want me to throw it?" Lily asked. "But I can't throw it very far from here." Rex picked up the rope and shook it, making it dance. "I think he just wants you to try," Emma said softly. Lily took the rope through the access door, her whole face concentrated with effort, as she tossed it as hard as she could. It went maybe 4 feet. Rex bounded after it like it had flown across a football field, grabbed it, shook it triumphantly, then brought it right back. They played like that for another 15 minutes. Lily throwing Rex, fetching both of them, making sounds of such pure happiness that everyone watching had to wipe their eyes. When Lily's arms finally got tired, she called out, "Okay, I need to rest now." Rex immediately dropped the rope and came back to the gate, settling down in the exact spot where he'd been before, his eyes full of understanding. "You're such a good listener," Lily told him. "The best listener I ever met." Sarah checked her watch and winced. "We've been here almost 2 hours. We should probably let Rex rest. We can come back this afternoon if—" "No," Lily said firmly. "I mean, yes, we can come back. But no, I don't want to just visit anymore." She turned to face her mother, and Emma saw something in her daughter's expression that she hadn't seen in 24 months. Determination. "Mom, I want to bring Rex home." The words hung in the air like a struck bell. "Lily, that's a very big decision. We need to think about—" "I have thought about it. I thought about it all night. I thought about it on the drive here. I thought about it every single second we've been here today." Her voice grew stronger. "Mom, you're always saying we should try new things for my therapy. Well, this is me trying. This is me saying I found something that makes me want to get better. Not for doctors or therapy or anyone else. For him. So we can play together. So we can help each other." Emma looked at Sarah helplessly. "I can't make this decision for you," Sarah said, "but I can tell you what I see. I see a dog who is dying inside this shelter, and I see a little girl who is dying inside herself, and somehow impossibly they found each other. If you're asking my professional opinion, yes, I think Rex should go home with you, but if you're asking me to promise nothing will ever go wrong, I can't do that. Nobody can promise that. All we can promise is that right now in this moment, they need each other." Emma looked at her daughter. "Are you sure? Absolutely sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything in my entire life," Lily said. Emma took a deep breath, then nodded. Okay, we'll do it. But we start with a trial period. And the first sign of any aggression—" "There won't be," Lily said confidently. "Will there, Rex?" The dog's tail thumped against the floor 3 times as if sealing the promise. The paperwork took 2 hours. Emma signed form after form, each one seeming to hold more warnings and liability clauses than the last. Sarah explained the fostering process, the support they'd provide, the emergency procedures if something went wrong. "We'll do home visits twice a week for the first month," Sarah said. "And you have my personal cell phone. Any concerns day or night, you call me immediately." While the adults handled the business, Lily stayed by Rex's kennel talking to him constantly. "We have a backyard," she was saying. "It's not huge, but it's pretty big. There's grass and some trees and Mom's garden that she doesn't really take care of anymore, but she says she will. and my room has a window that looks out on it so I can watch you play. Do you like to play outside? Rex responded with soft sounds that Lily seemed to interpret perfectly. Me too. I used to play outside all the time. I had a swing set, but we had to take it down after the accident because I couldn't use it anymore. But maybe we could get something else. Something we could both use. Would you like that? Maria came over with a collar and leash. These are his, from his police days. We kept them in case his handler ever wanted them back. The collar was black nylon with a metal plate that read K9 Rex, Metropolitan Police Department. He was a real hero, Lily whispered, running her fingers over the letters through the gate access door. He still is, Maria said. He just needed someone to remind him. When all the papers were finally signed, Sarah stood. Okay, this is the moment. We're going to put his collar and leash on, open the safety gate, and walk him out to your car. Maria and I will be right beside him. If at any point he shows stress or aggression, we stop and reassess. But we're not stopping, Lily said with absolute certainty. Sarah smiled. No, I don't think we are. She entered the kennel slowly, talking to Rex the entire time. Okay, soldier, this is your big day, your second chance. Are you ready? Rex stood, his body relaxed, his eyes bright. The collar went on without issue. The leash clipped smoothly to the ring. And when Sarah opened the safety gate, Rex walked through it like he'd been waiting his entire life for that moment. He went straight to Lily's wheelchair and sat down beside it, looking up at her face with an expression that could only be described as devotion. Hi, Lily whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. You're even more beautiful up close. She reached down slowly, and this time there was no gate between them. Her hand touched the top of his head, fingers sinking into his thick fur, and Rex leaned into her touch like a flower turning toward the sun. Emma covered her mouth watching her daughter pet a 90-pound German shepherd, who just days ago couldn't be approached by anyone. Shall we go home? Sarah asked. Lily nodded, unable to speak through her tears. They made it almost to the front door when someone called out, Wait! Everyone turned. A man was walking quickly down the corridor, his police uniform crisp despite the early hour, his face a mixture of hope and fear. Mark, Sarah breathed. Officer Mark Jensen stopped a few feet away, his eyes locked on Rex. The dog's body had gone rigid, every muscle tensed. I'm sorry, Mark said, his voice breaking. I know I should have called first, but when you told me someone was adopting him, I had to see him one more time. For a long moment, man and dog stared at each other across the years, and the pain and the guilt that had broken both of them. Then Rex did something no one expected. He walked forward, closing the distance between them, and pressed his head against Mark's leg. Mark dropped to his knees, his arms wrapping around the dog, and started crying. I'm so sorry, he sobbed into Rex's fur. I'm so sorry I couldn't save her. I'm so sorry I failed you. I'm so sorry I gave up. Rex made a sound, part whine, part sigh, and stayed perfectly still, letting his old partner hold him. Lily wheeled closer. Are you Rex's dad? Mark looked up, noticing the little girl for the first time. I was his handler, his partner. Sarah told me what happened, about the little girl you tried to save, about how Rex tried so hard but couldn't. Mark's face crumpled. It was my fault. I should have gotten there faster. I should have... It wasn't your fault, Lily said firmly. And it wasn't Rex's fault. Bad things happen sometimes. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you tried, and trying is what heroes do. Mark stared at this child who couldn't walk, who was telling him things he'd needed to hear for over a year, and something inside him finally let go. Thank you, he whispered. Do you want to know where Rex is going? Lily asked. Sarah told me. She said a family with a little girl was fostering him. That's me. I'm the little girl, and I promise I'll take really good care of him. I'll tell him every day that he's a hero. I'll make sure he knows he's loved. And maybe... She paused, looking at her mother, who nodded. Maybe you could come visit him sometimes if you want to." Mark's eyes filled with fresh tears. "I'd like that very much." He stood running his hand one last time down Rex's back. "You're going to have a good life now, partner. You deserve it. You always deserved it." Rex looked between Mark and Lily, as if understanding that one chapter was ending and another beginning. "Come on, boy," Lily said softly. "Let's go home." The drive back to the Parker house took 30 minutes. Rex sat in the back seat, his head resting on the console between the front seats, his eyes watching Lily in her wheelchair, secured in the passenger area. "He hasn't stopped looking at you," Emma said, glancing in the mirror. "I haven't stopped looking at him either," Lily admitted. When they pulled into the driveway, Rex's body language changed. His ears went up, his nose pressed against the window, taking in every detail of his new territory. "This is it," Emma said, opening the car door. "This is home." Getting Rex out of the car and Lily into her wheelchair while managing the leash was complicated, but they managed. As soon as all four of Lily's wheels were on the ground, Rex positioned himself beside her chair, matching his pace perfectly to hers, as they moved toward the house. "He's protecting you," Emma said softly. "Look at how he's walking. He's scanning everything, checking for threats. That's his training." Lily reached down to touch his head. "You don't have to protect me, boy. We're safe here." But Rex's training went deeper than commands. Protecting was what he did. It was who he was. Emma opened the front door and they all stepped inside. The house was small but comfortable. Living room to the right, kitchen, straight ahead, hallway to the left, leading to 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. Rex moved through each room methodically, sniffing, investigating, making sure everything was secure. "He's checking the perimeter," Emma said. "Just like a real police dog." When Rex finished his inspection, he returned to Lily's side and sat down, looking up at her expectantly. "I think he's asking what we do now," Lily said. "Now." Emma replied, "We start our new life together." But before they could settle in, before they could truly begin, they had to survive the first test. Because what none of them knew was that just 3 houses down, Mrs. Henderson was watching through her window. And Mrs. Henderson had very strong opinions about dangerous dogs in her neighborhood. The knock came 2 hours later, sharp and insistent. Emma opened the door to find not just Mrs. Henderson, but also her husband Tom and their son Derek, who was in Lily's grade at school. "Emma," Mrs. Henderson said, her voice tight. "We need to talk about your new pet." Rex's body went rigid the moment the Hendersons appeared at the door. His hackles rose and a low growl rumbled from his chest. "See?" Mrs. Henderson said, taking a step back. "That dog is dangerous. I told Tom we needed to come over here immediately." Emma felt Lily's wheelchair roll up behind her. "It's okay, Rex," Lily said softly. "They're just neighbors." But Rex didn't relax. His eyes were locked on Derek Henderson, who was standing slightly behind his father, fidgeting with his phone. "Mrs. Henderson, I appreciate your concern, but Rex is a fully trained police K-9. He's been professionally evaluated." "I don't care what papers you have," Mrs. Henderson interrupted. "That's a German Shepherd. They're aggressive by nature, and having one in a neighborhood with children is irresponsible. My Derek walks past your house every day going to the bus stop." "So do a lot of kids," Tom Henderson added, though his tone was less confrontational than his wife's. "Look, Emma, we're not trying to cause trouble. We're just worried about safety." Derek looked up from his phone. "Is that really a police dog, like one that catches bad guys?" "He used to be," Lily said, wheeling closer. "Now he's my dog." Derek's eyes widened when he saw the wheelchair. "Oh. Hey, Lily. I didn't know you lived here." "We moved here after the accident," Lily explained. "Derek's in my class," she added, looking up at her mother. "He sits 3 rows behind me." 4 rows, Derek corrected. "Mrs. Martinez rearranged the seating last week." He took a step closer, trying to see Rex better, and the dog's growl intensified. Derek, get back! Mrs. Henderson snapped, pulling her son behind her. See what I mean? That dog is 1 second away from attacking. He's not going to attack, Lily said firmly. He's protecting me. That's what he was trained to do. Trained to attack, you mean? Mrs. Henderson countered. I already called animal control. They said if a dangerous dog moves into the neighborhood, they have to do an evaluation. They'll be here tomorrow morning. Emma's stomach dropped. You called animal control before even talking to us. I have a responsibility to this community, Mrs. Henderson said, lifting her chin. If that dog shows any signs of aggression during the evaluation, they'll remove him. And frankly, Emma, I think that would be for the best. You can't take Rex away, Lily's voice cracked. We just brought him home today. I'm sorry, sweetie, Mrs. Henderson said, her tone softening slightly. But this isn't about what you want. This is about keeping everyone safe. Tom Henderson shifted uncomfortably. Maybe we could have waited a few days. Given them a chance to. No, his wife cut him off. That's how children get hurt. When people wait and give chances and hope for the best, I won't have that on my conscience. Derek was still staring at Rex. He doesn't look mean. He looks scared. Derek, stop, his mother warned. But the boy was right. Emma could see it now. Rex wasn't being aggressive. He was being defensive. His body was positioned between Lily and the strangers at the door, his eyes tracking every movement, his training telling him to assess the threat level. Mrs. Henderson, Emma said, trying to keep her voice calm. I understand your concern, but I need you to understand something too. My daughter hasn't smiled. Really smiled in 2 years, not since her accident. Today she smiled. Today she laughed. Today she had hope. And if you take that away from her because of fear instead of facts, you're going to hurt her more than any dog ever could. Mrs. Henderson's expression flickered, something almost like guilt crossing her face, but then she straightened her shoulders. I'm sorry, Emma. I truly am. But my decision is made. Animal control will be here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. I suggest you prepare your daughter for the possibility that the dog might not pass their evaluation. She turned and walked away, her husband and son following. Derek looked back once, his face troubled, before his mother pulled him along. Emma closed the door and leaned against it, her heart pounding. Mom. Lily's voice was small. They can't really take him, can they? Before Emma could answer, Rex moved. He walked directly to Lily's wheelchair, sat down and placed his head in her lap. The growling had stopped completely. Now he just looked tired. They're going to try, Emma said honestly. But we're not going to let them without a fight. That night, Emma barely slept. She spent hours researching dog behavior evaluations, reading fostering rights, calling every lawyer she could find who might know something about animal law. Most didn't answer. The ones who did weren't encouraging. If animal control determines the dog is dangerous, one lawyer explained, they have the authority to remove him immediately. Your only option would be to appeal, which could take weeks, and during that time, the dog would be in a county facility. What makes them decide a dog is dangerous? Aggression toward the evaluator, inability to follow basic commands, any behavior that suggests a threat to public safety. With his history of attacking shelter workers and his police training, they're going to be looking for any reason to classify him as high risk. Emma thanked the lawyer and hung up her hands, shaking. In Lily's room, she found her daughter still awake, lying in bed with Rex stretched out on the floor beside her. The dog's eyes were open, alert, as if he knew something was wrong. I can't sleep, Lily whispered. Every time I close my eyes, I imagine them taking him away. Emma sat on the edge of the bed. Baby, we're going to do everything we can. Sarah's coming over first thing in the morning. She's going to be here when animal control arrives, and she's going to explain Rex's progress, his training, everything. But what if it's not enough? What if they don't care about any of that? Then we'll figure out the next step. We'll appeal. We'll fight. I'll give him back, Lily said suddenly. What? If they say he has to go, I'll give him back to the shelter. I won't let them take him to some county place where he'll be alone and scared. Tears streamed down her face. It'll break my heart, but I'll do it. Because I love him. And when you love someone, you do what's best for them, not what's best for you. Emma pulled her daughter into a hug, both of them crying now. Rex stood and pressed against Lily's legs, whining softly. It's not going to come to that, Emma said, trying to convince herself as much as Lily. Tomorrow, they're going to see what we see. A good dog who deserves a second chance. But as she said the words, she couldn't shake the feeling that tomorrow was going to be the hardest day they'd faced since the accident. Morning came too fast and too slow all at once. Sarah arrived at 8:30, carrying a folder full of Rex's records, her face set with determination. I've worked with animal control before, she told Emma. The evaluator who usually handles this district is named Patricia Oakes. She's tough but fair. If we can demonstrate that Rex is responsive, controlled, and non-aggressive, we have a chance. And if we can't, Sarah's expression darkened. Then they'll classify him as dangerous, and he'll be removed pending a hearing. Best case scenario, he goes back to the shelter. Worst case, they recommend euthanasia because of his history. They'd kill him. Lily's voice came from behind them. She'd wheeled herself out of her room, her face pale but resolute. They'd kill him just for being scared. They'd kill him for being a liability, Sarah said gently. I'm not going to lie to you, Lily. This is serious. But I believe in Rex. And I believe in you. The bond you two have formed, that means something. We just have to make sure Patricia sees it too. At exactly 9 a.m., a white van with animal control printed on the side pulled into the driveway. A woman in her 50s stepped out, clipboard in hand, her expression neutral and professional. Patricia, Sarah said, meeting her at the door. Thanks for coming. Sarah, didn't expect to see you here. Patricia's eyes moved to Rex, who was sitting calmly beside Lily's wheelchair, though every muscle in his body was tense. That's the dog in question. This is Rex. Former police K-9, retired 4 months ago due to PTSD following a traumatic incident in the line of duty. Patricia wrote something on her clipboard. The complaint says he showed aggressive behavior toward neighbors yesterday. Is that accurate? He growled when strangers approached, Emma said. But he didn't lunge, didn't bark, didn't attempt to approach them. He was protecting my daughter. Protective aggression is still aggression, Patricia said. She walked closer and Rex's hackles began to rise. And that right there is problem behavior. He doesn't know you, Lily said quickly. If you give him a chance to learn, you're safe. I'm not here to make friends with the dog, Patricia interrupted, though not unkindly. I'm here to evaluate whether he poses a risk to this community. Sarah, you know the protocol. I need to perform a series of tests. If the dog passes, great. If not, I'm required by law to take action. Sarah nodded. We understand. First test is basic obedience. I need to see if he responds to commands from his owner. Patricia looked at Emma. Can you make him sit, stay, come? He's not my dog, Emma said. He's Lily's. Patricia's eyebrows rose. The child in the wheelchair is the primary handler. Yes, Lily said, lifting her chin. Is that a problem? It's unusual, Patricia admitted, especially for a dog with this background. But let's see what you can do. Command him to sit. He's already sitting, Lily pointed out. Then command him to stand. Lily looked at Rex. Stand, boy. Rex stood immediately, his eyes never leaving Lily's face. Sit. He sat. Down. He lay down, still watching her. Patricia made notes. Good. Now the harder part. I'm going to approach you while the dog is in a down position. If he breaks position to intercede, that's a fail. If he shows aggression toward me, that's a fail. If he maintains position but shows stress signals like excessive panting, whining, or trembling, that's borderline. Understand? Lily's hand was shaking as she nodded. Stay, she told Rex firmly. No matter what, you stay. Patricia walked toward Lily, slowly, deliberately, her posture neutral. Rex's body tensed. His breathing quickened, but he didn't move. When Patricia was 3 feet away, she stopped. I'm going to reach toward you now, as if I'm going to touch your shoulder. Okay, Lily whispered. Patricia's hand extended. Rex's lips pulled back slightly, revealing teeth, and a low growl started in his throat. That's aggression, Patricia said, pulling her hand back and writing on her clipboard. Clear warning behavior directed at a non-threatening human in a controlled environment. He's protecting me, Lily protested. That's what he's supposed to do. Not from animal control officers, Patricia said. Not from neighbors. Not from anyone who isn't actually attacking you. A properly socialized dog should be able to distinguish between normal interaction and genuine threats. He was tortured by normal interaction. Lily's voice rose. He was a hero who got hurt trying to save someone, and then people treated him like a monster. How is he supposed to trust normal interaction when normal interaction is what broke him? The passion in her voice made Patricia pause. She looked at the little girl in the wheelchair, really looked at her, and something in her expression softened almost imperceptibly. I understand what you're saying, Patricia said carefully. But my job isn't to heal damaged animals. It's to protect the public. And right now, this dog is displaying behavior that could escalate into a bite situation. What if I could prove he won't? Lily asked desperately. What if I could show you that he knows the difference? Please, just give us one more test. Patricia sighed. What do you have in mind? Lily thought for a moment, then said, Derek Henderson, the boy from down the street. He's in my class at school. Can someone call him, ask him to come over? Lily, I don't think... Emma started. Mom, please, trust me. Emma looked at Sarah, who nodded slowly. It's worth a try. 10 minutes later, Derek Henderson appeared at the door, his mother right behind him, looking furious. I told you, people, this dog was dangerous, Mrs. Henderson said. And now you're dragging my son into this circus. Mrs. Henderson, I promise you, Derek will be safe, Sarah said. We just need him for one quick test. Absolutely not. Come on, Derek, we're leaving. But Derek hadn't moved. He was staring at Rex with fascination. Mom, wait. I want to help. Derek Thomas Henderson, you get away from that dog right now. Mom, look at him. He's not trying to hurt anyone. He's just scared. Derek took a step forward. Rex's body tensed, but he didn't growl. I know what that's like. Being scared and having everyone think you're something you're not. Mrs. Henderson's face crumpled slightly. Derek, baby, what are you talking about? At school, Derek said quietly. Everyone thinks I'm stupid because I have to go to the resource room for reading. They call me names. They treat me like I'm dangerous to their grades, like being around me will make them dumb too. But I'm not stupid, Mom. I just learn different. Just like Rex isn't mean. He just hurts different. The silence that followed was profound. Derek, Lily said softly. I didn't know kids were mean to you. I'm sorry. It's okay. You can't hear them from the front of the class where you sit. But I hear them. Every day. He looked at his mother. Please let me do this. Let me show everyone that being scared doesn't make you dangerous. Mrs. Henderson's eyes filled with tears. She looked at her son, then at Rex, then at Lily. When she spoke, her voice was thick with emotion. If anything happens to you, nothing will happen, Derek said with certainty. Patricia watched this exchange with an unreadable expression. Young man, what I need you to do is very simple. Walk toward Lily. If the dog breaks his stay position or shows aggression, we stop immediately. Can you do that? Yes, ma'am. Lily, you need to maintain control. If you tell him to stay, he has to stay, no matter what. This is his last chance. Lily's hand found Rex's head. her fingers tangling in his fur. "Stay," she whispered. "Please, boy, stay for me." Derek walked forward slowly, 5 feet away, 4 feet, 3 feet. Rex's entire body was quaking with the effort of staying still, but he didn't move. His eyes tracked Derek's every step, but the growling had stopped. 2 feet, 1 foot. Derek reached out his hand. Rex's nose twitched, taking in his scent. Then, incredibly, the dog's tail gave a tiny wag. "Can I pet him?" Derek asked. "Slowly," Patricia instructed. On his side, not his head. Less threatening. Derek's hand touched Rex's shoulder. The dog leaned slightly into the touch. "He's soft," Derek said, wonder in his voice. "And warm, and his heart is beating so fast." "He's brave," Lily said, tears streaming down her face. "He's so brave." Derek petted Rex for another few seconds, then stepped back. "See, Mom? He's a good dog." Mrs. Henderson was crying openly now. "I see," she whispered. "I see." Patricia wrote something on her clipboard, her expression thoughtful. Then she turned to Sarah. "I need to speak with you outside, privately." The two women walked to the driveway, leaving everyone else frozen in place. Through the window, Emma could see them talking. Patricia, gesturing at her clipboard, Sarah responding with animated hand movements. The conversation lasted 5 minutes that felt like 5 hours. When they came back inside, Patricia's face was set in professional neutrality. "I've completed my evaluation," she announced. Rex has demonstrated both aggressive protective behavior and controlled obedience. His response to the child from the neighborhood was positive, but his response to me was borderline threatening. "So you're taking him?" Lily said, her voice breaking. "No," Patricia said, and everyone's head snapped up. "I'm not taking him, but I am placing him on probationary status. That means I'll be conducting follow-up evaluations every 2 weeks for the next 3 months. During that time, he must remain on your property unless on a leash. He must not show aggression toward any individual who is not actively threatening your safety. And you," she looked at Lily, "need to continue working with him on socialization. Sarah will provide you with resources." "He can stay," Lily asked, hardly daring to believe it. "He can stay," Patricia confirmed. "But understand this is his only chance. 1 incident, 1 complaint, and my decision will be different. Do you understand the responsibility you're taking on?" "Yes," Lily said firmly. "I understand. And I won't let you down. Neither will Rex." Patricia knelt beside the wheelchair, her voice gentle. "I believe you, sweetheart. I've been doing this job for 20 years and I've learned something. Sometimes broken things can be fixed. But it takes work. It takes patience. It takes love. And I think you have all 3 of those things." After Patricia left, Mrs. Henderson approached Emma hesitantly. "I owe you an apology," she said. "I was so focused on preventing something bad that might happen, I didn't see the good that was already happening. I'm sorry." "I understand," Emma said. "You were protecting your child. I'd do the same thing." Mrs. Henderson looked at Derek, who was still petting Rex. "I think our children might be protecting each other now." The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of adjustment and routine building. Lily and Rex were inseparable. When she did her physical therapy exercises, he lay beside her mat as if willing his strength into her body. When she studied, he rested his head on her footrest. When she slept, he positioned himself beside her bed, like a guardian angel made of fur and loyalty. Emma watched them together and marveled at the transformation. Not just in Rex, who was growing calmer and more confident each day, but in Lily. Her daughter was smiling more, talking more, even pushing herself harder in therapy. "I have to get stronger," Lily explained one morning. "Rex needs someone who can take him for walks, play with him in the yard, all the things dogs need. Right now, Mom has to do most of that. But someday, I want to be the one, so I have to keep trying." Sarah visited twice a week, as promised, bringing training guides and moral support. "The change in him is remarkable," she told Emma during one visit. "I've never seen trauma healing happen this quickly." "Lily calls it mutual healing," Emma said. "She says they're fixing each other." She's not wrong. But healing is rarely linear. And just when Emma thought they'd found their rhythm, everything changed again. It happened on a Wednesday afternoon. Lily was in the backyard with Rex throwing a ball while Emma prepared dinner inside. The doorbell rang, and Emma wiped her hands on a towel before answering. Mark Jensen stood on the porch in civilian clothes, his eyes red-rimmed. "Mark, is everything okay?" "Can I see him?" Mark asked, his voice rough. "Can I see Rex, please?" Emma led him through the house to the back door. Through the window they could see Lily laughing as Rex performed perfect retrieves, bringing the ball back to her chair each time. "He's happy," Mark whispered. "I haven't seen him happy since—" His voice broke. "Come outside," Emma said gently. "Come say hello." They walked into the yard, and Rex's head snapped up immediately. For a moment, man and dog simply stared at each other. Then Rex left Lily's side and walked to Mark, sitting directly in front of him and offering his paw. Mark took it, tears streaming down his face. "Hey, partner," he managed. "You look good. You look really good." "He's getting better every day," Lily said, wheeling closer. "Do you want to play fetch with us?" Mark nodded, unable to speak. For the next hour, the three of them played in the yard, the retired officer, the paralyzed girl, and the traumatized dog, all of them healing in the afternoon sun. When it was time for Mark to leave, he pulled Emma aside. "There's something you should know," he said quietly. "The warehouse where everything happened. Where Isabel died. They're tearing it down next week. They want Rex there for the ceremony. They're calling it a memorial for fallen heroes." "I don't think that's a good idea," Emma said immediately. "Taking him back to that place." "I know. But they're going to do it with or without him. And if he's not there, if people don't see that he survived, that he's okay now, they'll remember him as the dog who failed. I don't want that to be his legacy. I want them to see what you've done for him. What Lily's done for him." Emma looked at her daughter, who was brushing grass off Rex's coat. "I need to talk to Lily. This has to be her decision." That night, Emma explained the situation. Lily listened carefully, her expression thoughtful. "Will it hurt him?" she asked. "Going back there?" "It might bring back bad memories," Emma admitted. "But Mark thinks it might also give him closure. Help him understand that it's over. That he doesn't have to carry that guilt anymore." Lily was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "We should go, but not for the ceremony. Not for the people who want to see a hero dog. We should go for Rex, so he can say goodbye to Isabel, so he can know she doesn't blame him." Emma felt tears prick her eyes. "How did you get so wise?" "I had to grow up fast," Lily said simply. "Rex taught me that surviving is just the first step. Healing is what comes after." The warehouse demolition was scheduled for Saturday morning. Emma, Lily, and Rex arrived early before the crowds and cameras. Mark met them in the empty parking lot, and together they walked to the building's entrance. Rex's body was rigid, every instinct telling him this place meant danger and death and failure. But Lily's hand was on his head, and her voice was steady. "It's okay," she said. "I'm here with you. We're going to face it together." Mark led them to a specific spot, a corner where yellow police tape still fluttered in the breeze. "This is where we found her," Mark said quietly. "This is where Rex was lying beside her, refusing to leave even though he'd been shot. The paramedics said he'd lost so much blood he should have been unconscious. But he stayed, because that's who he is." Lily wheeled forward, Rex moving with her. When they reached the yellow tape, she stopped. "Isabel," Lily said, speaking to the heir to the memory, to the ghost of the girl who died here. "My name is Lily, and I'm taking care of Rex now. I want you to know he tried so hard to save you, harder than anyone could have asked, and he's been sad ever since because he thinks he let you down. But he didn't. He did everything right. Sometimes right isn't enough to stop bad things from happening, but that doesn't make it less right. Rex made a sound low in his throat, something between a whine and a sigh. I'm going to keep taking care of him. Lily continued. I'm going to make sure he knows he's good and loved, and that what happened to you wasn't his fault. And I think maybe you're somewhere now where you can help me do that. Maybe you can send him dreams that don't hurt. Maybe you can whisper to his heart that he's forgiven. Can you do that? Please. The wind picked up, making the police tape dance. Somewhere a bird sang. Rex sat down, and for the first time since they'd arrived, his body relaxed. Good boy, Lily whispered. You said goodbye. Now we can go home. As they walked back to the car, Mark stopped them. Wait, he said. He was holding something small in his hand, a medal. This is Rex's Medal of Valor. The department gave it to him after the warehouse incident, but I never had the heart to put it on his collar. I thought it would just remind him of what he'd lost, but now I think it should remind him of what he didn't lose. His courage, his loyalty, his heart. He clipped the medal to Rex's collar right next to his name tag. You're still a hero, Mark said, his voice breaking. You've always been a hero. And now you're Lily's hero. That's not a downgrade, partner. That's a promotion. Rex looked at Mark, then at Lily, then back at Mark. His tail wagged once, slow and deliberate. They were loading Rex into the car when Lily suddenly gasped. Mom, look! Emma turned to see a massive crane approaching the warehouse, its demolition ball swinging slowly. Workers were shouting instructions, backing everyone away from the building. They're doing it now, Mark said. I thought you'd want to be gone before. No, Lily interrupted. We need to watch. Rex needs to see it come down. He needs to see that this place doesn't exist anymore, that it can't hurt anyone else. So they stayed, the four of them, standing in the parking lot as the crane's engine roared to life. The ball swung back, then forward, crashing into the building's corner with a sound like thunder. Rex flinched, but didn't run. Lily's hand stayed on his head. The ball swung again, and again. With each impact, more of the building crumbled. Walls that had witnessed tragedy folded into rubble. Corners where shadows had hidden death collapsed into dust. It took 20 minutes for the warehouse to be reduced to nothing but broken concrete and twisted metal. When it was over, Rex sat down and howled a long, mournful sound that carried years of pain and grief and finally release. It's gone, Lily told him, wrapping her arms around his neck. It's gone, and you're here, and you're safe, and you're loved. The bad place is gone, but you're still here. Because you were always meant to be here, with me. Rex pressed his face into her shoulder, and Emma watched her daughter hold the broken dog while he cried out everything he'd been carrying. When the howling finally stopped, Rex pulled back and looked at Lily. Then he did something Emma had never seen him do before. He smiled, not just a relaxed expression or a slightly open mouth. A real dog smile, tongue, lolling eyes bright, the kind of smile that meant pure, uncomplicated joy. There you are, Lily whispered. There's the real you. I knew you were in there somewhere. On the drive home, Rex sat with his head in Lily's lap, finally at peace. Mark followed them in his car, and when they arrived at the house, he helped Emma unload the wheelchair. Thank you, he told Lily. Thank you for giving him what I couldn't. A reason to stop punishing himself. He gave me something too, Lily said. He gave me a reason to stop punishing myself for not being able to walk. We're even. That night, as Emma tucked Lily into bed with Rex stretched out beside her, her daughter said something that made Emma's heart stop. Mom, my legs felt tingly today, while we were at the warehouse. Has that happened before? Emma's breath caught. No, baby. That's new. That's very new. Do you think it means something? Emma didn't want to give false hope, but she also couldn't deny the possibility. I think it means your body is trying to heal, just like your heart. Because of Rex. Because of love, Emma corrected. Because you have something to fight for now. Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I'm going to walk again, Mom. I don't know when, but I'm going to walk. And when I do, the first thing I'm going to do is run with Rex. Not in a wheelchair, not being pushed, just me and him running together like we're supposed to. I believe you, Emma whispered. Good, Lily said, closing her eyes. Because we're going to need you to believe when things get hard. And they're going to get hard. Because nothing worth having comes easy. She was asleep before Emma could respond, one hand resting on Rex's head, both of them breathing in perfect synchronization. Emma stood in the doorway watching them, her miracle daughter and her impossible dog, and let herself hope. Really hope. For the first time since the accident, she believed that maybe, just maybe, they were going to be okay. What she didn't know was that in 3 days, that hope would be tested in a way none of them could have predicted. Because sometimes, healing has to survive fire before it can fully bloom. And the fire was coming. The smell hit Emma first. Acrid and wrong drifting through the house at 3 a.m. She jolted awake, her heart already racing before her mind could identify why. Smoke. Not the distant smell of a neighbor's fireplace, but something closer. Something inside. Lily. Emma threw off her covers and ran down the hall. Her daughter's door was closed, and when she touched the handle, it was warm. Lily Rex. She pushed the door open, and smoke billowed out thick and dark. Through the haze, she could see flames climbing the curtains, already spreading to the ceiling. The electrical outlet near Lily's desk was sparking, shooting small bursts of fire with each pop. Lily was screaming, trapped in her bed, trying to reach her wheelchair. Rex was barking frantically, his body positioned between the fire and the girl, but he couldn't get close enough to help. The flames were spreading too fast. I'm coming, baby. Emma lunged into the room, her eyes burning, her lungs already aching. She grabbed Lily under her arms and started dragging her toward the door. Rex, come now. But Rex didn't follow. Instead, he ran toward the flames. Rex, no! Lily shrieked, fighting against her mother's grip. Rex, what are you doing? The dog grabbed something in his jaws. Lily's stuffed dog, the one she'd had since she was 3. The one that had survived the car accident when so much else had been lost. He shook it once to get a firm grip, then turned and bounded toward them. Emma pulled Lily into the hallway. The smoke was thicker now, pouring from the bedroom like a living thing. Rex burst through it, the stuffed animal still clenched in his teeth, his fur singed along his back. The front door. Emma gasped, her voice raw. We have to get out. She dragged Lily down the hallway, Rex running ahead of them, barking urgently. When they reached the living room, Emma's heart stopped. The fire had spread faster than possible. The kitchen was engulfed, flames blocking their path to the front door. The back door, Emma said, changing direction. But when they reached it, she realized with horror that the security bar was jammed. She'd installed it last month after a break-in down the street, and now it wouldn't budge. Mom, I can't breathe. Lily wheezed, her face pale in the orange glow of the flames. Rex dropped the stuffed dog and started barking at the back door, throwing his body against it. Once, twice. The door shuddered, but held. Call 911, Emma said, patting her pockets frantically. Where's my phone? Where's... She'd left it charging in her bedroom, on the other side of the fire. The smoke was getting thicker. Lily was coughing violently now, her lips taking on a blue tinge. Emma's training as a nurse kicked in. They had maybe 2 minutes before smoke inhalation became critical. Maybe less for Lily, whose lungs were already compromised from being stationary so much. Rex barked again, more insistent, and Emma realized he was trying to tell her something. His police training. He'd been taught to find exits to clear buildings to save lives. Show me, Emma said. Rex, show me how to get out. The dog ran to the window, jumping up to paw at the glass. It was painted shut. Emma had been meaning to fix it for months, but never got around to it. Stand back, Emma told Lily. She grabbed a chair and swung it at the window. The glass shattered and cool air rushed in, feeding the fire behind them. The flames roared louder, growing bigger. Out! Emma shoved the chair through the window frame, knocking out the remaining shards. Lily, I'm going to push you through first. What about you? I'm right behind you, I promise. Emma lifted her daughter, feeling Lily's arms wrap around her neck in desperation. Rex, jump out. Go. Rex leaped through the window in one fluid motion, landing in the bushes outside. Emma pushed Lily through next, trying to be gentle, but knowing speed was more important than comfort. She heard Lily cry out as she hit the ground, and then Rex was there, barking again. Emma started to climb through, but something grabbed her ankle. She looked down and screamed. The hem of her nightgown had caught on a piece of broken glass, and in trying to pull free, she'd sliced her leg open. Blood poured down her calf, and the pain made her vision blur. Mom! Lily's voice came from outside, high-pitched with terror. Emma yanked her leg, felt the fabric tear, and the glass dig deeper. She was stuck. The smoke was filling her lungs now, making her dizzy. Behind her, she could hear the fire consuming her home, getting closer, always closer. Then Rex was back through the window, moving so fast, he was almost a blur. He grabbed Emma's nightgown in his teeth and pulled, his growl fierce and determined. The fabric tore completely, and Emma fell forward, tumbling out the window and landing hard on the ground beside Lily. Run, she gasped. Get away from the house. But Lily couldn't run. She could barely crawl. Emma tried to stand, but her injured leg gave out. Blood was everywhere, soaking into the grass. Rex barked once, then did something Emma would never forget. He positioned himself beside Lily and lowered his body. He wanted her to hold on to him. Grab his collar, Emma said. Hold tight and don't let go. Lily's fingers wrapped around Rex's collar, and the dog started walking slowly, deliberately dragging the little girl across the lawn. Emma crawled behind them, using her arms to pull herself forward, her leg leaving a trail of blood. They made it 15 feet from the house when the propane tank in the backyard exploded. The force of the blast threw them all forward. Emma's ears rang, and for a moment she couldn't see anything but white light. When her vision cleared, she realized Rex had covered Lily with his body, shielding her from the debris raining down around them. Is everyone okay? Emma croaked. Lily, Rex, I'm okay, Lily whimpered. But Mom, you're bleeding so much. Emma looked at her leg and felt nauseated. The cut was deep, maybe to the bone. She was losing blood fast. Too fast. Someone will see the fire, she said, trying to stay conscious. Someone will call for help. But they were at the end of a dead-end street, and it was 3 a.m. How long before someone noticed? How long before the fire department arrived? Rex was barking again, this time at the street. Then he started running. Rex, no, Lily called out. Don't leave us. But the dog didn't stop. He ran straight toward the Henderson house 3 doors down and started throwing himself against their front door, barking so loudly it sounded like thunder. Inside lights flickered on. Emma heard shouting. Then the door opened and Tom Henderson appeared in his bathrobe, looking confused and angry. What the hell? He saw Rex, saw the blood on his fur, saw the flames lighting up the night sky down the street. Oh my God! Patricia, call 911. The Parker house is on fire. Rex barked once more, then turned and ran back to Lily and Emma. He positioned himself between them and the flames, his body tense, ready to defend them from the fire itself if he had to. Sirens started wailing in the distance. Tom Henderson was running toward them, a blanket in his arms. Hold on, he shouted. Help is coming. Emma tried to respond, but the world was getting fuzzy. She could feel herself slipping away, the blood loss pulling her down into darkness. The last thing she saw before unconsciousness took her was Rex's face above her, his dark eyes filled with something that looked almost human. Determination, love, a promise that he wouldn't let her die. Emma woke to white walls and the steady beep of monitors. A hospital. Her leg was bandaged, elevated, and throbbing with a pain that felt distant, muffled by medication. "You're awake." A nurse appeared beside her bed, checking the IV line. "You've been out for 6 hours. You lost a lot of blood, but you're going to be fine." "Lily?" Emma tried to sit up. "My daughter is perfectly safe," the nurse assured her. "Minor smoke inhalation, some bruising from the fall, but nothing serious. She's in the next room with your neighbor, and there's a police officer outside who wants to speak with you when you're ready." "What about Rex, the dog?" The nurse's expression changed to something like awe. "That dog is a hero. The fire chief said if he hadn't alerted your neighbors when he did, you would have bled out before the ambulance arrived. He's being evaluated by a veterinarian right now. Some burns on his paws and back, but nothing life-threatening." Emma closed her eyes, tears leaking out. "Can I see my daughter?" "I'll get her." A minute later, Lily was wheeled into the room, her face lighting up when she saw Emma awake. "Mom, you're okay." "I'm okay, baby. Are you okay?" "Rex saved us," Lily said, her voice filled with wonder. "He saved us like a real hero, just like he was trained to do." The police officer entered, then a young woman with kind eyes. "Mrs. Parker, I'm Officer Rodriguez. I need to ask you a few questions about the fire. Do you feel up to talking?" "Yes," Emma said. "What happened? How did it start?" "The fire marshal is still investigating, but preliminary evidence suggests faulty wiring in your daughter's bedroom. The outlet where her desk lamp was plugged in appears to have short-circuited. These old houses, sometimes the electrical systems can't handle modern appliances." "We lost everything," Emma whispered, the reality sinking in. "Not everything," Officer Rodriguez said gently. "You have each other, and that dog of yours made sure of that." Over the next 3 days, while Emma recovered in the hospital, the story of Rex's rescue spread through their small community. The local news picked it up. Then the regional news. By the end of the week, Rex's picture was everywhere, the retired police canine who'd saved his family from a house fire. Sarah from the shelter visited, bringing clothes and supplies donated by people who'd heard the story. "Rex is fine," she told Emma. "The vet said his burns are superficial. He'll be sore for a while, but he's going to heal completely." "Where is he now?" Patricia Oakes, the animal control officer, took him to her house. She said after what he did, the least she could do was give him a comfortable place to recover. Sarah smiled. She also said she's recommending that his probationary status be lifted immediately. After this, no one can question whether he's dangerous. He's proven what side he's on. "He's on Lily's side," Emma said. "He always was." When Emma was finally released from the hospital, she faced a new reality. They had no home. The house was a total loss, everything inside destroyed. Insurance would cover rebuilding eventually, but that would take months. "You'll stay with us," Tom Henderson insisted. "We have a guest room and a fold-out couch. It's not much, but it's yours for as long as you need it." "We can't impose like that," Emma protested. "You're not imposing. You're accepting help. There's a difference." Tom's expression was serious. "Mrs. Parker." "Emma, I was wrong about your dog. About a lot of things. Let me make it right." So they moved into the Henderson house temporarily, Emma and Lily sharing the guest room, Rex sleeping on a blanket beside Lily's borrowed bed. The first night there, Derek knocked on their door. "Can I come in?" "Of course," Lily said. The boy sat on the floor next to Rex, his hand moving gently over the dog's bandaged paws. "Does it hurt?" he asked. "The vet said it hurts, but he's being brave," Lily answered. "He's always brave." Derek was quiet for a moment. "I've been thinking about what you said. About how being scared doesn't make you dangerous. About how being different doesn't make you bad." "It's true," Lily said. "I want to be brave like Rex," Derek continued. "I want to stop hiding in the back of the class. I want to stop letting people make me feel small." He looked up at Lily. "Will you help me, the way you helped Rex?" Lily's face broke into a smile. "Of course I will. We'll help each other. That's what friends do. Over the next 2 weeks, something beautiful happened. The community that had feared Rex began to love him. People brought gifts, dog toys, treats, blankets. Children drew pictures of him wearing a firefighter's helmet. A local business commissioned a portrait of him for their shop window. Mark Jensen visited almost daily, bringing updates on the fire investigation and spending time with his former partner. "The department wants to give him a commendation," Mark told Emma one afternoon. "A ceremony honoring his heroism. They're calling it a redemption story." "It's not a redemption story," Emma said firmly. "Rex never needed redemption. He just needed someone to see him clearly. That's all any of us need." But the real miracle was happening quietly away from the cameras and attention. Lily's legs were tingling more frequently. Her doctors were cautiously optimistic. The physical therapist increased her exercises, and for the first time, Lily attacked them with genuine enthusiasm. "I have to get stronger," she told Emma after a particularly grueling session. "Rex saved my life. Now I need to save his by being the person he can run with someday." "Baby, you don't owe him anything." "It's not about owing," Lily said. "It's about loving. When you love someone, you become your best self for them, not because you have to, because you want to." 3 weeks after the fire, Patricia Oakes arrived at the Henderson house with an official document. "Rex's probationary status is officially lifted," she announced. "He's been cleared by the department, cleared by animal control, and cleared by the community. Congratulations, you now have full custody of one certified hero dog." Lily threw her arms around Rex's neck, sobbing with joy. "You hear that, boy? You're really mine now. Forever." Rex's tail wagged so hard, his whole body shook. That night, Emma received a call from their insurance agent. "I have good news," the agent said. "Your claim has been approved. The rebuild can start next week, but it's going to take at least 4 months before the house is livable again." 4 months in the Hendersons' guest room. 4 months of imposed hospitality. Emma felt her chest tighten with anxiety. But when she shared the news, Tom Henderson just shrugged. "So, we'll have company for 4 months. My wife's already talking about putting in a ramp for Lily's wheelchair, making it permanent. She says we should have done it years ago anyway. This neighborhood needs to be accessible to everyone." "You don't have to do that," Emma protested. "We want to," Mrs. Henderson said, coming into the room. She'd changed since the fire, softened. "This whole thing has taught me something. I was so busy protecting my family from imaginary dangers that I almost missed the real danger, becoming the kind of person who turns away from people who need help. I don't want to be that person anymore." The weeks that followed developed a rhythm. Emma went to work at the hospital, grateful her job allowed flexible hours. Lily attended school with Derek, now sitting in the front row beside her, both of them helping each other with the subjects they found challenging. And Rex went everywhere. Lily went his service dog training from his police days, making him perfect for the role. The school principal had initially been hesitant about allowing a German Shepherd on campus, but after Rex's story spread, the objections disappeared. If anything, Rex became something of a school celebrity. Children who'd been afraid of dogs wanted to pet him. Teachers who'd never understood emotional support animals suddenly got it. "He makes me feel safe," Lily explained to her class during show and tell. "Not just physically safe, though he does that too. But safe enough to be myself. Safe enough to be scared sometimes without being ashamed of it. Safe enough to try things that might not work. That's what real safety is. It's not never falling down. It's knowing someone will be there to help you get back up." One afternoon, Mark Jensen picked Lily and Rex up from school. "There's someone who wants to meet you," he said mysteriously. He drove them to a cemetery on the edge of town and led them to a small gravestone. The name carved into the granite read, Isabel Maria Martinez. Beloved daughter. Forever, 8 years old. "Her parents are here," Mark said quietly. A couple in their 40s approached their faces, showing the permanent mark of grief that never fully fades. The woman knelt in front of Lily's wheelchair. "You're Lily," she said. "The girl with Rex." "Yes, ma'am," Lily said softly. "I'm Isabel's mother, Rosa. This is my husband, David. We've been following your story. Ever since the fire, we've been trying to work up the courage to meet you." "Why?" Lily asked. Rosa looked at Rex, who was sitting calmly beside the wheelchair. "Because we never blamed him. We never blamed Mark. We never blamed anyone, except the man who took our daughter. But we heard that Rex blamed himself, that he carried guilt all this time. And we wanted to tell him—" Her voice broke. "We wanted to tell him that he's forgiven, that he was always forgiven." David knelt beside his wife. "Our Isabel loved dogs. She would have loved knowing that Rex found you, that he saved you, that something good came from something so terrible." Lily reached out and took Rosa's hand. "He dreams about her sometimes. He whimpers in his sleep, and I think he's remembering. But lately, the dreams seem gentler, like maybe they're not all nightmares anymore." "Will you do something for us?" Rosa asked. "Will you bring him here sometimes, so he can visit her, so he knows she's at peace?" "Yes," Lily promised. "We'll come as often as you want." Rex approached the gravestone, slowly sniffing the flowers that had been placed there. Then he did something that made everyone cry. He lay down beside the grave and rested his head on his paws, staying completely still for several long minutes. "He's saying goodbye," Mark whispered. "He's finally letting her go." When Rex stood again, something in his eyes had changed. The shadow that had lived there since the warehouse, the darkness that had made him seem so haunted, was gone. In its place was something clear and bright and forward-looking: hope. That evening, back at the Henderson house, Lily asked Emma a question that had been building for weeks. "Mom, can I try something? Something that might not work, but I want to try anyway." "What is it, baby?" "I want to try to stand. With Rex helping me, just for a second, just to see if I can." Emma's heart clenched. "Lily, your doctor said the paralysis is likely permanent. I don't want you to get your hopes up and then—" "I know what the doctor said, but my legs have been tingling for weeks. And yesterday, during therapy, my left toe moved. Just a little, but it moved. The therapist said it was probably a muscle spasm. But Mom, what if it wasn't? What if my body is trying to heal, and I'm just not listening, because I'm scared to hope?" Emma looked at her daughter, this brave, brilliant, beautiful girl, who'd survived so much, and realized she was asking for permission to try. Not permission to succeed, just permission to try. "Okay," Emma said. "But we do it safely. And if anything hurts, we stop immediately." They positioned Rex beside the bed, his body steady and strong. Lily put one hand on his back and one hand on her mother's shoulder. Slowly, shakily, she shifted her weight forward. "My legs are holding," she gasped. "Mom, they're actually holding some weight." "Don't push too hard," Emma warned, her own legs trembling with the effort of supporting her daughter. Lily stood there for 5 seconds that felt like 5 hours. Her legs were shaking violently, and Emma could see the strain on her face. But she was standing. Actually standing. Then her left leg buckled and Emma caught her, lowering her back onto the bed. "I did it," Lily whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I stood up. For 5 seconds I stood up." "You did," Emma said, crying too. "You absolutely did." Rex barked once, loud and triumphant, as if he'd known all along this was possible. Over the next month, Lily practiced every day. 5 seconds became 10. 10 became 20. The tingling in her legs became more frequent, more intense. Her doctors were amazed. They ran tests, consulted specialists, and finally admitted what they'd thought impossible. Her spinal cord injury wasn't as severe as we initially believed. Her neurologist explained. The swelling and trauma from the accident masked the true extent of the damage. As the swelling reduced over these 2 years and her muscles strengthened from the wheelchair use and therapy, neural pathways began reconnecting. It's rare. It's remarkable, but it's happening. So she'll walk again, Emma asked, hardly daring to believe it. With intensive therapy and time, yes. I believe she will. Not immediately. It could take another year or more, but the potential is there. When they told Lily, she didn't scream or jump or celebrate wildly. She simply looked at Rex and said, "See, I told you we'd run together someday. I just needed you to show me how to be patient while I healed." 4 months after the fire, the Parker house was finished. Not just rebuilt, but improved. The insurance money had allowed for updates, new wiring, modern appliances, and most importantly, accessibility features. Ramps instead of steps. Wider doorways. A roll-in shower. "It's perfect," Lily said as they toured the house for the first time. "Rex, look. We have our own home again." The dog bounded through the rooms, tail wagging, claiming his territory. When he reached what would be Lily's new bedroom, he stopped and barked. "What is it, boy?" Lily wheeled in behind him. There, mounted on the wall, was a framed collage. Pictures of Rex through the years. In his police uniform with Mark. At the shelter looking lost. Meeting Lily for the first time. Playing in the Hendersons' backyard. Sleeping beside her hospital bed after the fire. And in the center, a medal, his Medal of Valor from the police department. Below the collage, a plaque read, "Rex, hero, protector, friend, family." "Do you like it?" Emma asked from the doorway. "I wanted you to have something that showed his whole story, not just the hard parts, all of it." Lily couldn't speak through her tears. She just held out her arms, and Emma pushed her wheelchair close enough to hug her daughter and their dog all at once. That night, as they settled into their new home, Lily lay in her new bed with Rex stretched out beside her. Through the window, she could see stars appearing one by one in the darkening sky. "We made it," she whispered to Rex. "We survived the shelter and the fire, and all the people who didn't believe in us. We made it home." Rex's tail thumped against the bed. "And you know what the best part is? This is just the beginning. Tomorrow, I'm going to practice standing for 30 seconds. And the day after that, maybe I'll take a step. And someday, I don't know when, but someday I'm going to run with you in a field, just like I dreamed. We're going to run so fast and so far that all the bad memories disappear behind us, and all that will be left is us and the sky and the feeling of being free." Rex made a soft sound in his throat, something between a whine and a sigh, and pressed closer to her. "I love you," Lily said. "I love you so much. Thank you for teaching me that broken doesn't mean finished. Thank you for teaching me that the bravest thing you can do is keep trying, even when everything hurts. Thank you for being exactly who you are." In the doorway, Emma stood watching them, her heart so full it felt like it might burst. This was her family. This was her home. This was everything she'd thought they'd lost but had somehow found again in the most unexpected way. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Therapy sessions, physical pain, the long, slow work of healing bodies and hearts. But tonight, for this one perfect moment, they had everything they needed. Each other. And the unshakable knowledge that love, real fierce, unconditional love, could survive anything, even fire. 6 months after moving back into their rebuilt home, Lily woke up at dawn with a single thought burning in her mind. Today. She didn't know why today felt different from yesterday or the day before. But something in her bones told her that this was the day she'd been working toward for almost 3 years. Rex was already awake, sitting beside her bed, like he always did, his dark eyes watching her face. "You feel it too, don't you?" Lily whispered. "Something's about to change." His tail thumped once against the floor. Lily had been practicing in secret for the past 2 weeks. Every night after her mother went to bed, she'd been pulling herself upright using her bed frame, testing how long her legs could hold her weight. Last night, she'd stood for 2 full minutes before the trembling became too much. But standing wasn't enough anymore. She wanted more. She pulled herself to sitting, then swung her legs over the side of the bed. Rex stood immediately, positioning himself beside her, like he'd done hundreds of times before. But this time, when Lily gripped his collar and pushed herself up, she didn't just stand. She shifted her weight forward onto her right leg, then her left, then her right again. She took a step. Her legs buckled immediately, and she grabbed Rex's collar hard enough to hurt him, but the dog didn't flinch. He held steady, bearing her weight, giving her time to find her balance again. "I did it," Lily breathed. "I took a step, an actual step." Rex made a sound deep in his chest, something between a whine and a celebration. "Don't tell Mom yet," Lily said. "I want to practice more first. I want to be sure before I show her. Can you keep a secret?" Rex's tail wagged slowly, and Lily took that as agreement. Over the next week, Lily practiced every spare moment. In her room with Rex spotting her. In the bathroom, while her mother cooked dinner. In the backyard when Emma was at work, and Derek Henderson was supposed to be watching her, but was actually helping her train. "That's 3 steps," Derek counted. 3 whole steps before you had to grab the fence. 3 isn't enough," Lily said, breathing hard. "I need to be able to walk across a room. I need to prove to the doctors that I'm really healing." "Why do you need to prove anything to anyone?" Derek asked. "You're already doing the impossible." "Because next month is the police department ceremony," Lily said. "They're giving Rex his official commendation. And I want to walk up on that stage with him. I want everyone to see that we healed each other." Derek's eyes widened. "Lily, that's 4 weeks away. Can you really—" "I have to try," she interrupted. Rex spent months thinking he was a failure because he couldn't save Isabel. But he's not a failure. He's a hero. And I want to show everyone that heroes don't give up. Even when everything seems impossible, they keep trying. What Lily didn't tell Derek was that her legs were getting worse, not better. The tingling that had started so hopefully 6 months ago was now sometimes accompanied by sharp stabbing pains. Her left leg kept going numb without warning. And yesterday, her physical therapist had pulled Emma aside for a whispered conversation that Lily couldn't quite hear, but knew wasn't good news. That night, Emma sat on Lily's bed with an expression that made Lily's stomach clench. "The doctor called today," Emma said carefully. "Your MRI results came back. And there's some inflammation in your spinal cord. It's probably from pushing yourself too hard in therapy. They want you to take a break for a few weeks. Give your body time to rest and recover." "No," Lily said immediately. "I can't take a break. The ceremony is in 3 weeks. I need to keep practicing." "Baby, if you don't rest now, you could do permanent damage. The doctor said—" "I don't care what the doctor said." Lily's voice rose, surprising both of them. "The doctor said I'd never feel my legs again. And I do. They said I'd never stand, and I can. They said I'd never walk, and I'm learning. So forgive me if I don't trust what they say about what's possible." Emma's face crumpled. "I'm just trying to protect you." "I don't need protecting," Lily said, then immediately regretted it when she saw tears in her mother's eyes. "Mom, I'm sorry. I didn't mean—" "Yes, you did," Emma said softly. "And maybe you're right. Maybe I've been so focused on keeping you safe that I forgot to let you be brave." She wiped her eyes. "Okay, no break. But you promise me if the pain gets worse, if anything feels wrong, you tell me immediately." "Deal." "Deal," Lily said. But she was already planning to hide any pain, because nothing was going to stop her from walking across that stage. The next 2 weeks were the hardest of Lily's life. The inflammation in her spine made every step feel like fire. Some mornings, she couldn't get out of bed without crying. But she kept practicing, kept pushing, kept telling herself that pain was just her body's way of testing her commitment. Rex never left her side. When she fell, he was there to lean on. When she wanted to quit, he'd bring her his leash as if saying, "We're not done yet." When the pain made her scream into her pillow, he'd press his body against hers until the trembling stopped. "You're killing yourself," Derek said one afternoon, watching her drag herself across the backyard, using Rex as a crutch. "Lily, please. Just rest for 1 day." "I can't," Lily gasped. "The ceremony is in 1 week. 1 week, Derek. I'm so close. You're so close to collapsing, he countered. Look at you. You can barely stand. Then help me practice instead of lecturing me, Lily snapped. Derek threw up his hands. Fine. But when you pass out, don't say I didn't warn you. But Lily didn't pass out. She pushed through the pain, through the exhaustion, through the voice in her head that said she was being stupid and reckless and foolish. She pushed because Rex had pushed through worse. He'd been shot and still tried to save Isabel. He'd been burned and still dragged her mother to safety. He'd been broken and still chose to love her. If he could do all that, she could learn to walk. 5 days before the ceremony, Sarah from the shelter visited. She brought news that made Emma's face go white. Mark called, Sarah said quietly. There's been a complication with the ceremony. Some city council members are questioning whether Rex should receive a commendation. They're saying his history of aggression makes him unsuitable for public honor. That's ridiculous, Emma said. He saved our lives. How is that not worthy of honor? There's a petition circulating. Some people in the community still remember when he attacked those shelter workers. They're saying that one heroic act doesn't erase a dangerous past. Sarah's expression was pained. Mark is fighting it. So is Patricia from Animal Control. But if the council votes against it, the ceremony will be canceled. Can they do that? Lily asked, her voice small. Can they take away his honor after everything he's done? They can do whatever they vote to do, Sarah said. The hearing is in 3 days. Members of the public can speak. If you want to testify on Rex's behalf, I'll do it, Lily said immediately. I'll tell them everything. About how he saved me, about how he's changed, about how he deserves this more than anyone. Emma looked uncertain. Lily testifying means talking in front of a lot of people. City officials, reporters, everyone with an opinion about Rex. Are you sure you can handle that? I can handle anything, Lily said, for him. The council hearing was held in a large room filled with folding chairs and fluorescent lights. Emma wheeled Lily to the front, Rex walking calmly beside them, despite the crowd murmuring and pointing. The council members sat behind a raised table, their faces carefully neutral. The chairwoman, a stern-looking woman in her 60s, banged a gavel. We're here to discuss the proposed commendation for the canine known as Rex, she announced. We'll hear testimony from both supporters and opponents before making our decision. Who would like to speak first? A man stood up, his face red with anger. That dog attacked my brother at the shelter. Put him in the hospital with 12 stitches. And now we're supposed to give him a medal. Forgive me, but that sets a dangerous precedent. Dogs that bite people don't deserve honors. They deserve to be put down. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Lily's hands clenched on her wheelchair armrests. Another person stood. I live 3 houses down from the Parkers. That dog growled at me when I walked past their yard. Scared my grandchildren half to death. I don't care if he saved them from a fire. A dangerous dog is a dangerous dog. One by one, people stood to speak against Rex. Each testimony felt like a knife in Lily's heart. She looked down at Rex, who was sitting perfectly still, his eyes focused on some point in the distance. He could hear everything they were saying. He understood that people still feared him. Finally, the chairwoman asked, Does anyone wish to speak in support of the commendation? Mark Jensen stood, his police uniform crisp and formal. I was Rex's handler for 4 years. I've seen him do things that most humans couldn't do. Save lives, find missing children, protect the innocent. Yes, he went through trauma. Yes, he struggled. But that doesn't erase his years of service. That doesn't erase the fact that he saved more lives than most people in this room combined. Patricia Oakes spoke next. I evaluated this dog. I was prepared to recommend his removal from the community. But what I witnessed was an animal capable of change, capable of healing, capable of choosing love over fear. That's what we should be honoring, not perfection, growth. Then Sarah testified about Rex's transformation at the shelter. Tom Henderson spoke about how Rex had alerted him to the fire. Even Derek stood up, his voice shaking, as he explained how Rex had taught him that being different wasn't the same as being wrong. But when they finished, the chairwoman looked unmoved. "Those are all very touching testimonials," she said. "But the fact remains that this animal has a documented history of violence. The council's responsibility is to public safety, not sentimentality." "Then let me tell you about safety," Lily said, her voice cutting through the room. Everyone turned to look at her. The chairwoman raised an eyebrow. "Young lady, you weren't on the list to speak." "I am now," Lily said firmly. Emma started to object, but Lily shook her head. "It's okay, Mom. I need to say this." She wheeled herself forward, Rex moving with her. When she reached the center of the room, she stopped and looked directly at the council members. "My name is Lily Parker. I'm 9 years old, and 3 years ago I was in a car accident that paralyzed me from the waist down. The doctors said I'd never walk again. They said my best hope was to learn to be okay with my wheelchair, to accept my limitations, to stop hoping for impossible things." She paused, taking a breath. "But then I met Rex. And he was just like me. Broken, scared, convinced that he'd failed at the one thing he was supposed to be good at. Everyone told me he was dangerous, that I should stay away from him, that hoping he could be anything other than what his trauma made him was foolish." Lily's voice grew stronger. "But I didn't listen, because I recognized something in him that I felt in myself. The desperate need for someone to look at you and see who you really are, not what happened to you. And when I looked at Rex, I didn't see a dangerous dog. I saw a hero who was tired of fighting alone." She reached down and placed her hand on Rex's head. "You want to talk about safety? Rex has kept me safer than anyone else in my life. Not just physically, though, he literally saved me from a fire, but emotionally, mentally. He taught me that being broken doesn't mean being finished. He taught me that the bravest thing you can do is keep trying even when everyone says you'll fail. He taught me that love is stronger than fear." Tears were streaming down her face now, but she didn't stop. "So yes, Rex bit some people when he was hurting. Yes, he growled when he was scared. But you know what he didn't do? He didn't give up. He didn't stop trying. He didn't let his worst moments define his entire story. And if we take away his commendation because of his past, we're telling him that none of his growth matters. We're telling him that once you're labeled dangerous, you're dangerous forever. We're telling him that there's no such thing as second chances." She looked directly at the chairwoman. "Is that really the message this city wants to send? That we only honor perfect heroes? Because if that's true, then we can't honor anyone. Because nobody's perfect. Everyone has moments they're not proud of. Everyone has scars. The question isn't whether Rex made mistakes. The question is whether we're brave enough to recognize that he overcame them." The room was completely silent. Even the people who'd spoken against Rex looked uncomfortable. Lily wasn't finished. "And here's the thing you don't know. The thing I haven't told anyone yet." She gripped her wheelchair armrests. "For the past 6 months I've been learning to walk again. The doctors said it was impossible, but I didn't care. Because Rex taught me that impossible just means nobody's done it yet." Emma gasped. "Lily, what are you—" "I wanted to wait until the ceremony to show everyone," Lily continued. "I wanted to walk across that stage with Rex and prove that we both deserve to be honored. But if there's no ceremony, then I guess I'll show you now." She pushed herself up from the wheelchair. The room erupted in whispers. Emma jumped up. "Lily, no, you're not ready." But Lily was already standing, her legs shaking violently, her whole body trembling with effort. Rex moved immediately, positioning himself beside her, offering his body for support. "I can walk," Lily said through gritted teeth. "Not far, not well, but I can walk. And do you know why?" She took one step forward. The pain was excruciating fire racing up her spine, but she didn't stop. "Because Rex taught me how." Another step. Her left leg nearly gave out, but Rex adjusted his position, taking more of her weight. He taught me that healing isn't about going back to who you were before. A third step. She was crying now from pain and effort and determination. It's about becoming who you're meant to be after. A fourth step brought her directly in front of the council table. She looked up at the chairwoman, her face streaked with tears, but her eyes blazing with conviction. So you can take away his commendation. You can say his past makes him unworthy. But you can't take away what he gave me. You can't take away the fact that he's the reason I'm standing here right now. And that makes him a hero, whether you give him a medal or not. Lily's legs finally gave out. She started to fall, but Rex was there, and so was Emma, catching her before she hit the ground. The room exploded into applause. People were standing cheering, some crying openly. Even some of the council members were wiping their eyes. The chairwoman banged her gavel repeatedly, trying to restore order. When the room finally quieted, she looked at her fellow council members, then back at Lily. "I've been in public service for 30 years, she said, her voice thick with emotion. "And I've never seen anything like what I just witnessed. Young lady, you've made your point. Quite dramatically, I might add." She looked at her colleagues. "Does anyone on this council still question whether this dog deserves to be honored?" One by one, they shook their heads. "Then it's decided," the chairwoman announced. "The commendation ceremony will proceed as planned, and Miss Parker, I expect to see you there. Walking or not walking, you and Rex are the guests of honor." The room erupted again. Emma was sobbing, holding Lily tight. Derek was cheering. Mark Jensen had his arms around Rex, both of them shaking with emotion. But Lily was focused on Rex. She cupped his face in her hands, looking into those dark, intelligent eyes that had seen so much pain and somehow still chose love. "We did it," she whispered. "We showed them." Rex's tail wagged, and he licked the tears from her cheeks. The ceremony took place on a bright Saturday morning in the town square. Hundreds of people came, filling the folding chairs and standing in the back when seats ran out. News cameras lined the perimeter. Children held signs that said, "Rex the hero," and "We love you, Rex." Emma wheeled Lily to the front row where special seating had been reserved for them. Rex walked beside them wearing his police collar, his Medal of Valor gleaming in the sunlight. Mark Jensen was already on stage in full dress uniform. When he saw them arrive, he climbed down to greet them personally. "You ready for this?" he asked Lily. "I've been ready my whole life," she said. The ceremony began with the police chief reading Rex's service record. 4 years in the K-9 unit, 12 successful rescue operations, 5 arrests, 3 commendations before his retirement. "And now," the chief continued, "we add one more commendation to that list. For extraordinary heroism in saving the Parker family from a structure fire. Rex demonstrated the same courage and selflessness that defined his career. It is my honor to present him with the Medal of Exceptional Valor." Mark was supposed to walk Rex up on stage alone. That had been the plan. But when he started to lead the dog forward, Lily called out, "Wait." Everyone turned. Emma looked panicked. "Lily, what are you doing?" "What I should have done at the hearing," Lily said. She pushed herself up from her wheelchair, grabbed Rex's collar, and started walking. The crowd gasped. Emma tried to stop her, but Sarah held her back. "Let her do this," Sarah whispered. Step by painful step, Lily walked toward the stage. Her legs were shaking so badly, it looked like she might collapse at any moment. Twice she nearly fell, but Rex adjusted his position, bearing her weight, keeping her upright. It took 3 full minutes to walk 30 feet. By the time they reached the stage stairs, Lily was drenched in sweat, tears streaming down her face from the effort and the pain. "I can't do stairs," she gasped. "I'm sorry. I tried, but I can't." Mark stepped forward. "You don't have to." He scooped her up in his arms like she weighed nothing and carried her up the steps, Rex following close behind. When they reached the center of the stage, Mark set Lily down. She wobbled, grabbing onto Rex for support, but she stayed upright. The police chief looked like he might cry. "Miss Parker, would you like to do the honors?" He handed her the medal. Lily's hands were shaking as she clipped it onto Rex's collar, right next to his name tag and his old Medal of Valor. "You're the bravest soul I've ever met," she whispered to him. "And I'm so proud of you." Rex looked at her, and in his eyes she saw everything they'd been through together. The shelter where they'd met, the fire that had tested them, the long, painful journey of learning to trust and heal and hope again. And she saw something else. Gratitude. For the little girl who'd looked at a dangerous dog and seen a friend. For the child who'd refused to give up on him when everyone else already had. The crowd was on their feet, applauding so loudly it sounded like thunder. Camera flashes went off like stars. Children were cheering. Adults were crying. But Lily only cared about one thing. She knelt down, wrapping her arms around Rex's neck, and whispered into his fur, "We made it. We made it all the way to the other side, and look how beautiful it is here." Rex's tail wagged, and he made that sound again, the one that was part whine, part sigh, part song of pure contentment. They stayed like that for a long moment, just a girl and her dog, while the world celebrated around them. Later, after the ceremony ended and the crowds dispersed, the Parker family returned to their rebuilt home. Lily was exhausted, her legs screaming in pain, but she'd never felt more alive. Emma helped her into bed while Rex jumped up beside her, something he rarely did, but seemed to understand was necessary tonight. "You were incredible today," Emma said, brushing hair from her daughter's forehead. "I've never been prouder of anyone in my life." "I just did what Rex taught me," Lily said sleepily. "I kept trying even when it hurt." Emma kissed her forehead and left the room, leaving the door cracked open. In the darkness, Lily turned to Rex. "We're going to keep practicing," she told him. "Every day, until I can run with you like I promised. It might take months, it might take years, but we'll get there." Rex's tail thumped against the bed. "And then—" Lily continued, her voice growing drowsy. "We're going to help other people. Kids who feel broken like I did. Dogs who feel lost like you did. We're going to show them that second chances are real, that healing is possible, that love always wins." She was asleep before she finished speaking, her hand resting on Rex's head, both of them breathing in perfect synchronization. In the doorway, Emma watched them one more time. Her daughter and their miracle dog, both of them scarred, both of them healing, both of them proof that the human spirit and the loyal heart of a dog could survive anything. She thought about the day they'd first visited the shelter, how terrified she'd been when Lily approached Rex's cage. How certain she'd been that letting a dangerous dog into their lives was a mistake. But it hadn't been a mistake. It had been the beginning of the greatest blessing their family had ever known. Because sometimes salvation doesn't come in the form you expect. Sometimes it comes with teeth and scars and a history that makes people afraid. Sometimes it comes looking dangerous when really it's just desperate to be seen. And sometimes, just sometimes, two broken souls find each other in the darkest places and decide that together they're going to build something beautiful. That night, while Lily and Rex slept, it started to rain. Soft and gentle, washing away the last traces of ash from the fire, cleansing the air, making everything new again. And in the morning, when the sun rose over their small town, it found a little girl and her dog already in the backyard. Lily was standing, her hand on Rex's collar, taking one step and then another, slowly building the strength that would eventually carry her into the future. They practiced for an hour. Then 2. When Emma called them in for breakfast, Lily had walked 50 feet without falling once. "Tomorrow I'll do 100, Lily declared at the breakfast table. "And the day after that 200. And someday, maybe by next summer, I'll do a whole mile. And Rex will run beside me the entire way." "I believe you," Emma said. And she did. Because if the past year had taught her anything, it was that impossible was just another word for hasn't happened yet. 3 years later, on a bright spring morning, Lily Parker stood at the starting line of her school's annual fun run. She was 12 years old now, taller and stronger, her legs no longer shaking when she walked. Beside her, Rex waited patiently, his leash attached to a special belt around her waist. He was older too, a few gray hairs showing around his muzzle, but his eyes were still bright and alert. "You ready?" Derek Henderson asked from beside her. He was running too along with half their class. "I've been ready for 3 years," Lily said. The starting gun fired, and Lily ran. Not perfectly, not gracefully. Her form was awkward, her pace slower than the other kids. But she ran. Actually, ran. Her feet hitting the pavement in rhythm with Rex's paws, both of them moving forward together, leaving behind everything that had once held them back. People along the route cheered. Some cried. Everyone who knew their story understood what they were witnessing wasn't just a girl running a race. It was a promise fulfilled. A victory earned through years of pain and persistence, and refusing to accept the limitations the world tried to place on them. When they crossed the finish line 20 minutes later, dead last but still triumphant, Emma was there waiting. So was Mark Jensen. So was Sarah from the shelter. So were Tom and Mrs. Henderson and Patricia from Animal Control, and everyone who had been part of their journey. Lily bent over, hands on her knees, gasping for breath. Rex sat beside her, panting but happy, his tail wagging like it had never known sorrow. "We did it," Lily managed between breaths. "We ran together, just like I promised." Rex barked once, loud and joyful. Mark knelt beside them, his hand on Rex's head. "I knew you would," he said. "I always knew you would, because that's what heroes do. They keep their promises." That afternoon back at home, Lily sat in the backyard with Rex's head in her lap. The sun was warm, the grass was green, and somewhere a bird was singing a song that sounded like celebration. "You know what the best part is?" Lily said, running her fingers through Rex's fur. "It's not that we proved everyone wrong. It's not that we did the impossible thing. It's that we did it together. Every single step of the way we had each other." Rex's tail thumped against the ground. "And we're going to keep having each other," Lily continued. "When I go to college, you're coming with me. When I become a therapist and open my own practice helping trauma survivors, you're going to be right there beside me. When I'm old and gray and telling my grandchildren about the best dog who ever lived, you're going to be in every single story." She leaned down and pressed her forehead against his. "Because you're not just my dog, Rex. You're my hero, my teacher, my friend. You're the reason I learned that broken things can be beautiful. You're the reason I know that the hardest battles are worth fighting. You're the reason I believe in miracles." Emma watched from the kitchen window, tears streaming down her face for the 1,000th time since a paralyzed little girl had rolled up to a cage containing an aggressive police dog and chosen to see love where everyone else saw danger. And she thought about all the nights she'd prayed for something to heal her daughter's broken heart. All the times she'd begged the universe for a miracle. She'd gotten her miracle. It just came with 4 legs, a scarred muzzle, and a history that would have made most people walk away. But they hadn't walked away. They'd walked toward each other. And in doing so, they'd created something the world needed to see. Proof that love doesn't require perfection. That healing doesn't require forgetting. That second chances aren't just possible, they're powerful enough to transform everything they touch. As the sun set over their home painting, the sky in shades of gold and pink and endless promise. Lily fell asleep in the grass with Rex beside her, both of them dreaming of all the tomorrows they'd face together. And somewhere, in whatever place exists beyond this one, a little girl named Isabel smiled. Because the dog who couldn't save her had saved someone else. And in doing so, he'd finally saved himself. The end of one story. The beginning of 1,000 more. Because every time someone chooses love over fear, every time someone sees worth where others see danger, every time someone refuses to give up on a broken soul, that's when miracles happen. That's when heroes are born. That's when impossible becomes inevitable. And that's when life proves once and for all that the bravest thing any of us can do is keep believing in second chances, keep choosing hope over despair, and keep loving fiercely, even when the whole world says we shouldn't. Lily and Rex taught their community that lesson. And their story, this true story of redemption and resilience, and the unbreakable bond between a paralyzed girl and a traumatized dog, proved that sometimes the most broken things create the most beautiful light.